Testing, testing. Okay, I'm going to change my personal repo to only have the code that we're working on. So that's here. This is my personal repo. It's just a grab bag of stuff and configuration files, and I don't want to have to just make all of that public. So I'm going to take the interesting code, which is in this directory, and move it out. So I'm looking at a command that I found out about, filter branch, and so there should be a directory or a rev list. Okay, that comes at the end. First directory, and I guess I should do, I'll probably want to clone this first. So I'm going to go to temp git clone. Okay. And let's see here. So now I can try the command. Okay, nusort already exists. Yeah, because that's the directory I want. Oh, so directory must be the destination. Directory. Let's see what that actually means. Directory. Okay, what I actually want is subdirectory filter. Set the path to the temporary directory used for rewriting. Well, that's not very important. Okay. Okay, that looked right. Yeah, that looked pretty good. There's probably some other stuff in here. There must be commits which touch this directory and other directories also at the same time, I'm guessing. But I'll read that later and not now. Okay, I am going to try to fix a message that didn't make any sense, which I noticed. So it looked like it was right. I used this word and I didn't actually say what I was doing to it. I said take this into consideration, but I didn't actually say what this was, probably because the word for this was in English and the word for taken into consideration was in Japanese. So I'm going to try and fix that now. Let's see here. The first word. No. Where did it go? Can't seem to find this character I'm looking for. Kangaeru. Where is it? Should be here. So it should be under, not under V, I guess. It should be under S. Ah, that's why it's under S. Okay. So there, and yeah, there we go. Okay. Here we go. This is a commit that's no good. Or commit message that's no good. Okay, this is much less laggy than the other terminal emulator, so I guess this is the one I got to use. Okay. Ashio hindo. I think I wanted to say amount that it's used. Basically, I'm putting the characters with the higher usage rank as the cutoff points. Because before it was this, which is not a very common character. Now I've made it this, which is quite common. So, okay, so let's fix that message. I believe what I want to do is okay, this has to be reworded. Shio Junyi Junyi there we go. Okay. Okay, that was successful. Great.
Hello. So I have something I want to do with my input editor here, and it's going to take me a few minutes just to kind of orient myself into this project. So you might see me floundering around a little bit. Anyway, I already have my IDE open, so to speak, and it is here in this directory. Oh, I don't have a make file. Oh, right, it's in source. Okay, make. And when I make it, it runs all of the tests automatically. I probably won't do that forever once the tests get kind of big and cumbersome to run. For now, it's fine. And so that looks pretty good. Now, I can run the command here, which is kind of the entry point. Now, right now, this command is not an input method, so to speak. It is just a kind of utility for looking at statistics about Japanese characters and making kind of layouts and such from that. So it might be helpful to actually look at what a IDE, a input method editor looks like. And I do not have a normal one installed, but you can go and to translate Google, and you can kind of try one out. So you set the source language to Japanese, and you turn on this little thing. Here it says konnichiwa, and it has the kana for konnichiwa, which means hello. And you can just kind of start typing. So not working. There we go. A, I, U, E, O. So these are the vowels, no consonants. It's A, I, U, E, O. Anyway, the goal is not really to teach Japanese here. I'm going to kind of go in a very shallow level of explanation, just so you know what I'm making and just what my goal is, basically. So here I typed in A, I, U, E, N, O, and it automatically converted it to phonetic characters. So these are what you would call kana. Let me get something I can type in an explanation with. Come on, do what I want. I just wanted to take up the left half of the screen. Okay, now start a new window over here. Whoa. All right, take up the right half, please. Now, hope there's nothing personal in my Drive start page. I'm starting a new doc. Okay, here we go. So Japanese writing has kana, which are phonetic. Um, let's make this bigger. Not that big. And these are cut into two separate sets of kana. There is hiragana, which you don't really have to memorize these words exactly, and katakana. And this is kind of an oversimplification, but you can think that there are 50 of each kind, and there's a one-to-one relationship of each item. And so, like in English, you have a lowercase a and an uppercase a. Well, in Japanese, you have a hiragana a, which looks like that, and you have a katakana a, like that. All right, and so these represent sounds, and they don't have any meaning per se. Now, I could just type in like, now here is E, and this means stomach. However, it's not the word stomach is not really written phonetically. Usually, you usually use the character, the Chinese character, which is called kanji, that it corresponds to. And so we usually want to write it like this. And so let's start a new section. So there are kanji which are more which they call ideographic or whatever. These are basically have meaning in and of themselves. And so here is this kanji for stomach, and you know how many kanji there exists exactly, and how many kanji you need for some given task are kind of hard to calculate. So you might want to say, if you want to read a newspaper and not really spend like most of your time using a dictionary, you probably need to know 2,000 kanji. And there's different levels of knowing. You might know it in such a way that you can write it yourself, or which is not always true because everyone's using computers nowadays. You could know it so well that you can write it yourself, and you can even write like variant shapes of it. But anyway, there are about 2,000 like educational that they teach in schools. We can just call them educational kanji, and this is an arbitrary number. I mean, people learn kanji outside of school as well, and there are kanji they teach in school that you don't really need to know for day-to-day life either. So this is also kind of an arbitrary number. But anyway, so we have kanji and kana, and the way things work is that if you want to type in kana, like a, I, u, e, o, this is a very simple kind of computation. It's just a mapping of Roman characters to kana, and anyone can write a program that does that conversion. It's really not that tricky. But if you want to write a program that will convert the user's typed in stuff to kanji, it's a little more tricky. So usually what they do is they type in they type in what the character sounds like, and then you just get all these lists of characters that sound that way, and then you pick what you want, and then you're done. So for example, this means stomach, this one means like location or degree. Number 4 here means thought or meaning. This one means well, number 5. 6 is, I don't know exactly what it means, but it's used in names a lot. Like the Japanese tea company Itoeng uses this character. This one means clothes. This one's mean doctor. This one means like kind of sternness or presence. This one means different, and I'm not even sure what number 2 means here. But we can go on and on. There's quite a lot here, and the problem with this now. Now I'm being a little unfair to this input method editor, because if you want to type a whole sentence, it's actually quite intelligent. So let's see. I want to say kanji, which means what we just said over here, kanji, these Chinese characters that were originally from China. Um, and there's also another word, kanji, which means meaning. And then there's kanji, which means like kind of like a leader, like that. Um, and oh, this translation is not correct at all. Not sure what that is about. Let's delete that. That is a terrible. What's wrong with this? Um, it's just saying Chinese characters for all these words that actually mean something. So now if I say something like kanji ga tsutawaru, which means the feeling is communicated, then it chooses the correct word here for kanji. So that's pretty smart, right? It doesn't choose the word for Chinese characters or the word for secretary here. Um, then if you say like kanji ga kakeru, which means I can write kanji, then it chooses the correct word here too. Um, Now you can also say kanji o tsutomeru, which means do the work of a kanji, and see here it chose the correct word as well. Um, Now the problem that I always have with this, and it's a bit of a personal taste, but as you type a lot, you never really know exactly what exactly what word will show up. Will it use the word you really want? And because it's non-deterministic and it's heuristic, and that's kind of annoying. If I'm typing something, I want to know what's going to come up on the screen. And so my project is to create a Japanese input method where I type 2 characters, and the kana or the kanji just pop up on the screen immediately. And so if you want to see what that might look like, so I have a simpler one, not a simpler one, but one that I wrote before. And if you see what I'm doing here, I can actually just type in like the code for each kanji or kana, and it just comes up immediately. And so let's see, do I remember how to type kanji? Yeah, here we go. And here's the other kanji. And so there you go. It just kind of popped up, and it always uses the same code, and it's very predictable and everything. And so my goal is to make a Japanese input system where I type 2 characters, and I just get the right character up on the screen. And so if you look at the keyboard, there are 4 rows of keys, numbers, letters, and punctuation. And then there are 10 keys per row, which means you have about 40 keys that you can use for typing like linguistic content. And so just keep that in mind. We have 40 keys. Now we have 5 vowels, right? A, I, U, E, O. And 35 non-vowels. And so that means that basically we have 5 characters, 5 keys that will just pop up a character right away, right? Because they're vowels and they don't have a consonant. And then we have 35 others. And so 35, and then we have 40 more after that. 40, and this equals 12, what is that, 1220, I think. 35 times 40 is 1400. Okay. However, we do want to get the 45 or so non-vowel kana to fit, right? And so we say 100 kana of each type, so 50 plus 50, and then minus 5, minus 5. And so this is 90. So 90 non-vowel kana, right? And then we have 1400 key sequences, 2-character key sequences, minus 90 for kana, and this gives you about 1310. And let's just round down to 1300. So that means that out of the 2,000 or so educational, this is again an arbitrary number. So we can take the 1,300 most used kanji and give them 2-character codes. And then the rest, we might aim for like 4,000. May use more codes. And so like this number 40 here does not include space. So so we do like 40. So we could do like K space P O, and this might be one of the less used kanji because it's actually 4 key sequences, right? But for 1300 we can use 2-character codes, which is a lot actually. So not all kanji are used an equal amount, and we can actually look at approximately like how much of what percentage of the characters in normal writing would you actually cover if you only had 1300, and then for the other characters you would just use more than 2-character codes. So let's see here. I had some statistics on that. Nusort, and if we look at where is that? It is Radso sort first 1400. Check kanji. Let's see. It's in the third party. So we go here and kanji shiokin dohyo. So the kanji usage statistics. And now this is a table. This is the ranking of the kanji according to its frequency of use. This is the character itself. This is some code that we don't really have to worry about. It's used for like looking things up in a dictionary. That's this number. This number is the frequency it appeared in some collection of typical texts, probably from Aozora Bunko, which is like a kind of a Project Gutenberg for Japanese stuff. And we have the amount of time, the frequency ratio, and then the cumulative frequency. So this one goes up and up. So you see, if you only learn the first 10 kanji, then you actually have 10% of all the. You will, for every kanji you see in like a normal book, you will know 10% of them, which is not that bad. So you can actually learn 10, and you'll like start to get a kind of a grasp. You'll feel a little bit better about looking at some Japanese texts which used to be gobbledygook. And so if you learn 100 characters, the most 100 frequently used, then you're at 40%. That's pretty good. Now you can even probably guess what some sentences mean. Now I said before we're going to have 1,300 characters with 2-stroke codes. And you see that would give you 97%. And so the idea is for 97% of kanji and for all kana, you can just type in two characters, and the character will just pop up right away without any conversion required. And for the last 3%, then well, you just use a longer code. Now, the hard part is, well, how do I know what the two-letter code actually is? And like I might think of a character, like let's say I want to type say I want to type something like I want to type kanji here. I want to type this character. So how do I know that this corresponds to like m comma? And that is really where the art of this project is like, how do I map the character to the two-letter code and not require a huge amount of like study time and practice time by the user. And that's what I will talk about next. Hello. I just realized I made a little bit of a mathematical goof. So I said that we would have five vowels. When I was calculating the number of kanji we'd be able to cover with two character codes, I subtracted 90 kanji, 90 kana, and my logic was that we have 45 non-vowel kana from each category, but the truth is we actually I plan on just using caps lock to distinguish the two types of kana. So kana is going to be caps on, and hiragana will be the same codes as katakana but without the caps lock on. And so we don't have to subtract 5 here exactly, and we don't have to subtract 10, and we don't have to add 100. We actually just need to do 1400 and then subtract 40. So we subtract 50. How does this work? We subtract so this number is wrong, right? We actually have 50 minus oh, I remember what I did wrong. So yes, we have 40 keys and 5 vowels. So this is not exactly the whole truth. We have 2 more like exceptional kana, not just the vowels. And one of them is ng, which is, as you can tell, it's not really a vowel or a consonant. It's just kind of a funny sound that comes at the end of some words and some syllables. There's ng, and there's small tsu. So this is I can't find it here. So we have a small tsu. There is 2 exceptional kana. So there is a small tsu and ng, and they kind of look like this in that order. And so we actually don't have 35 times 40. We have 33 times 40 because we have 7 one-character kana. And this equals 1320. And then we actually can subtract more, like we only have to subtract about 45, I think. And so 1320 minus 45, 1320 minus 45 is 1275, 2 car code kanji. Okay? And so if we go back, before I said it would be 97% of characters if we follow this strategy, but it's a little bit less. It's actually go to 1275 here. It's actually 97.37 instead of 97 like 6 or 97.5. So it's still quite high, but it's kind of I told a bit of a lie before because I was oversimplifying. Anyway, that's all for this time.